For nearly 400 years, the Elm Street Dam has allowed North Plymouth, which would later become Kingston, to power the industries that built our nation. Kingston's many contributions to the Revolutionary War effort, straight through the Industrial Revolution, were made possible because the Elm Street Dam and others in Kingston captured and put to use the power of the Jones River. In its time, this dam served a purpose and put Kingston on the map with its tools, fasteners, and clothes. But all dams are not created equal. Those of colonial times were seasonal, taking advantage of the high flows in winter, and they were removed in the spring to take advantage of the prolific fish runs. Industrial times brought concrete dams that would not be so flexible. These blocked the fish runs and stagnated the water, creating more problems than benefit. And they posed a serious threat to our health, the health of our community, and the survival of our native species. For the past 34 years, the Jones River Watershed Association has worked tirelessly to understand the river system and how it's connected to a vital part of the Gulf of Maine. They worked to secure support funding and the permits necessary to restore the river, protect its habitat, and recover it to its natural state, which you see today. Following the removal of the Wapping Road Dam in 2011, they managed to leverage a $125,000 commitment from the town of Kingston to raise an additional $1.7 million in state, federal, and private funds to make this project at Elm Street a reality. With Thanksgiving less than a week away, it seems appropriate to mention that what you see today doesn't look all that different from what the Pilgrims saw when they took their boats up a river that would later bear the name of their captain, Christopher Jones. Today, as we celebrate this removal of the Elm Street Dam, I invite you to embrace our past, understand what serves us well and what needs help to recover, and if need be, as Pine would say, take a sledgehammer to it, so that we can ensure our region's future and the health of our natural landscape that supports us.
Jason. So, Jason Petrikis is the president of the board of directors of Jones River Watershed. Woo!
Good morning. Thank you for coming with us. Thank you for coming and celebrating this great day that we have of opening up the river and being able to do this. But again, one of the things I'd like to point out is this is not only the celebration of the opening of the river and the fish that are able to now transverse it to the breeding areas, but it's also a demonstration of cooperation. We've had great cooperation here. This was a town project. The town owned the bridge. We were able to have the residents of Kingston cooperate and come together. And as Josh has mentioned, in funding this with the beginning at town meeting of setting up the Jones River Restoration Fund that allowed us to find the matching funds to go on and get more money. We have to say we had great cooperation with all the town officials, being able to put together all that paperwork and that red tape of years, basically, of getting permitting and things this done. The support of the selectmen that did a great job helping us with Josh and his group there. Also from the water department. The water department, which was a little concerned when we're digging out the river next to their building there. And as anything of older age like I have found, you get a little creaky and things like this. We're wondering what happens, and being able to put the new foundation down. We'd like to thank the owners of Jones River Trading, Mr. Tom and Mrs. Margaret Poulas here, who were great cooperative with us. And again, you just think of the when we dropped that little surprise on them, what we were going to do and what was going to happen to their property and things like this. But they were great in doing this. Plus, we had tremendous help with the state and federal organizations. The DER, DEMF, were able to put together huge information and materials and things like this that we needed. NOAA, the major funder, who really did, made it possible for this to happen and deal with that. I also like to thank the engineers, Stantec, the engineering firm, for their years of research, design, and supervision of this project that made it all possible. And then the contractor, the eco-contractor Sumco, whose great expertise and their professionalism made this project go possible and extremely easy. And, you know, and they really proved that when I came and watched them and saw them happen, they were really the eco engineers. They really were important. Great component was the ecology. How are we going to do this? Is it possible? And when we came upon little projects and little problems, as they would say, they were able to solve them for us in the best way. And we were able to get this basically done within budget and within, well, before schedule, record time that was able to put this. Originally, some of the original dates was a year from now, this project was going to be done. Because of their expertise, we were able to get it done much faster and easier. And again, the coordination. I happened to stumble in one of the meetings with the engineers and Sumco and things like this. And one of the concerns was here, how do we make the stream a little deeper here? Because we wanted to slow the current down. Well, bedrock and ledge creates a little bit of a problem. So the design, if you notice, the rocks that are in the middle of the stream have been sat down, they sat down and designed the pattern that would basically change the current so that the smelt and the other fish had eddies as they could move up the river. So these were the ways that we and they solved the problems that we had. And finally, to all the members and financial supporters of the Jones River watershed, who for years have supported and allowed us to put this project together. You know, you saw it happening in July, what, 15th, 25th, I think it was. We pulled the boards. The 15th, we pulled the boards. But before that happened, there was a couple years, well, as Pine says, 15 years of fish counting, but also years of wading in the river, taking samples, finding out if this was possible, and then fundraising and chasing the money in funds like this. And this would not be possible without the support of the members that we have and of the financial supporters and people that have contributed to the watershed. And finally, I have to really say, I'm able to come up here and brag about this, but I'm able to brag about it with the board of directors because we have a great staff. Pine, the leader, the driver of the whole program. She has been our inspiration, our leader, and our pusher. So I don't know how it is. She's in front of us and she's pushing us from behind. Keeps us going and going through. Also other staff members. James Gardner, he's the new ecology director here, putting together information and things like this. And James is running around here with a camera somewhere. Jimmy Powell, where are you? Way back there. Every day I came down when I took down to look at how the project was going, I saw him in boots and a hard hat with a clipboard in one hand and the camera in the other, waiting about halfway in the stream every time, putting this together and doing it. Also, I would be remiss if I also did acknowledge our former ecology director, Alex Mansfield, who did a tremendous amount of work before he moved on to other projects now, but did a tremendous amount of work setting this up and making this all possible. We'd like to thank them. And now I'd like to introduce some people. The first person I'd like to introduce on the schedule here is Kathleen Natra, our state representative.
I will. Thanks, Jason. What a great day to be here for this celebration. Many, many, many hands went into this project. So congratulations to all of you. You know, what I found the first time I met Pine is what I really appreciated about Pine was her passion. And then through her, I've met most of you here, and you all have that same passion. And one of my goals in life has always been to live my passion and to live and work my passion. And I see that in all of you. So someday, hopefully, that will come true for me as well. But this is amazing. Congratulations to everyone. And I want that t-shirt. Mega Dams, Mega Damage. Beautiful t-shirt. Congratulations to everyone here. What a great day.
I'm going to have to apologize at the beginning if I mess up names and things like this. I left my readers at home. So. Ron Amadon, the Commissioner of Massachusetts Fish and Game, would like to say a few words for us. Thank you for all your assistance.
Wow, look at this crowd. This is indicative. You really need to come up here and take a picture of what all of you look like from up here. This is really indicative of how important this project was. To see a crowd of this many people show up for this kind of an event is a special day to say the least. And it's important that we recognize that fact that there's a lot of hands that got put into this. And specifically, I want to point out a couple of people like my crew from DER. Beth, raise your hand and say hello. Nick, Georgianne. If every company had employees like this, your bottom line would be much higher, let me tell you. They are the best. We've got a lot of good folks out there with Diagemus Fish Program. Where are we? Brad? There he is. There's Brad. Ken's here too. Ken was part of that. So thank you to them for making this all happen. And also moving forward, all of the other folks that were thanked, we'll thank again. We're particularly pleasantly surprised, if you will, that the Jones River Trading Company and the Kingston Water Department actually put up with this one. It was an awful lot of work being done literally in their backyard, but thankfully it all came out the way we had planned, if not even better. And that makes these kinds of events that much more fun. We talk a lot in some of the Division of Marine Fisheries circles about species such as the striped bass. That has really been on a hot plate lately, and we're talking a lot about how do we manage that fishery. How do we go about ensuring that we're not taking too many of those fish at a time? Well, I kind of go backwards even further than that, and I look at how do we make these species really prolific. And it's true with any kind of animal, bird, or plant even. If you feed them, that population will grow. So it's projects like this, we're going to allow the sea herring and all of the other species to be able to travel up and down this river, migrate up into spawning grounds, reproduce, and go back out and feed those fish. That's where that success is going to come from, more importantly than any other direction. So everybody that's here today that had any hand at all in this, you all deserve a huge round of applause for yourselves. Thank you very, very much.
And now representing the National Marine Fish Services, the Deputy Regional Administrator, Kim Damon Randall.
So this is really fantastic. Coming here and seeing the free-flowing river banks driving through Boston and navigating the traffic, definitely worth it. So as I look around at the fabulous team of people that work so hard on this project, I just have to say how proud Noah is to have been a part of this collaborative team effort to put ecological order back in the Jones River. It's clear, and it's been said by all the people in front of me, that Pine is the reason that this has all happened. She's painstakingly fought to restore the Jones River in any way that she can, and has devoted a significant part of her life to this passion. And we suspect that no one but the fish are probably happier with the event today than Pine. So thank you for your dedication, Pine. And it's because of all the hard work of the people gathered here today that the potential exists for significantly larger runs of river herring and rainbow smelt, which are species that are really near and dear to my heart, to make their annual spawning migration up the Jones River. And these fish are important not only to the Jones River and the town of Kingston, but also to the broader marine ecosystem in the Northwest Atlantic. River herring are important forage species for seabirds, marine mammals, and big fish such as cod, tuna, and striped bass. And these small silvery fish are part of the backbone of recreational and commercial fisheries of the region. And they also support a robust ecotourism industry with bird and whale watching. So NOAA's role in all of this is to provide funding and technical expertise to assist local communities and other organizations to evaluate the costs and benefits of these kinds of projects, and ultimately to implement a solution that's a win for fish and for the local community. So we're supporting dozens of similar projects across the Northeast that hope to help sustain commercial and recreational fisheries and restore the important ecosystem functions. I speak for all of the NOAA staff when I say how pleased I am to see how far this small but really important stream has come since NOAA's restoration program first got involved with the Wapping Road dam removal just upstream back in 2008, and we're not done yet. On the lighter side, I'd like to make sure everyone took notice of the Happy Fish that's been proudly displayed at my office in Gloucester for the past week. If you don't know, Happy Fish is the emblem of the World Fish Migration Day Foundation, and Happy Fish is going to continue to travel around to locations that make fish happy. So we're using the event today to kick off leading up to the World Fish Migration Day that will be formally celebrated on May 16th, and that's going to be done in the neighboring town of Plymouth, and that's going to be the North American headquarters. And we're lucky today to have joining us the creative director of World Fish Migration Day, Herman Wanigan. And if you can raise your hand, there he is. Thank you for coming to this event so far away. We really appreciate it. And when you all return here in the spring, you'll be able to see thousands of happy fish, real happy fish, migrating up the Jones River. So I look forward to the opportunity to join Happy Fish at many other events over the next 7 months. And I have to share this on a very light note. Many people asked about the possible incendiary device that Eric Hutchins found just above the dam a couple weeks ago. Most everyone thought it was either an IED or possibly a live mortar shell. I'm happy to report that after local police and the state bomb squad evacuated Eric's house, the official report just came back earlier this week that it was just a construction device and not any military ordnance. So everybody's safe and sound, and it's very good to know that it wasn't something that could have exploded. So thank you, and congratulations to everyone on this great event.
Next, I'd like to introduce Bill Hinckley.
So thank you very much, and congratulations on this great project.
I'd like to now introduce Herman Wanigan, the World Fish Migration Instigator? Oh, no. Visiting us from Netherlands. Thank you very much.
I want to ask my colleague Josh to come here as well, because Josh and me started World Fish Migration Day in 2014. And I'm really proud, and I think Josh, you will be really proud as well, to be here today. And I want to congratulate you with your successes, the whole team, because this is an inspiration. This is an inspiration for Europe, this is an inspiration for the rest of the world, showing that it's possible to remove dams. And it's a big discussion in Europe as well. What do we do with all these 100,000 old obstacles in Europe? And being at projects like this, it really shows that it's possible. So really, really proud to be here. Yeah, next year it will be World Fish Migration Day again, and actually this event here is a World Fish Migration Day event I discovered on the web. Yes, today. It's not official, to be honest, because the World Fish Migration Day is next year, and May 16, and also in April there are lots of events, river herring festivals. So I invite you to host another event next year, and we brought a little flag for you. Yes, this is for you. So if you want to come and get it. No? And with that flag comes along a nice Happy Fish cap. And one for you. And enjoy the rest of the day, and because. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Roberta Benenfield from the Grand Riverkeeper Labrador.
Well, I gotta say congratulations to all of you too. My God, this is fantastic. I wish it was happening in Labrador. I'm not going to be up here by myself. I want to bring Meg Sheehan up here, our coordinator with the Mega Dance, and also Amy Norman. Is Amy here? Amy is an Inuk woman from Labrador who came down with me. Come on, Amy. And Rita and Tommy Manias from Manitoba. Rita, where are you, Rita? Come here, Rita. So we're glad to celebrate with you, but we have some really sad news. Our river in Labrador and rivers in Manitoba are being desecrated as we speak. Muskrat Falls, I don't know if any of you have heard about it, 824 megawatts, and I've heard someone say something about the fish coming back up the river. Our river will lose 22 different species of fish for the two dams that are already on it, and the Gull Island Dam is proposed, and that's a 2,200 megawatt project. That will take one river, Grand River, also known on the map as the Churchill River, and make it 3 huge long reservoirs that, like, I love paddling, and we won't even bother to paddle something like that. Who wants to get out on flat water, stagnant water, and paddle for 10 days? It's just, today was wonderful. I really enjoyed getting out on the water, and I want you folks to know that all of these dams that are proposed and are already built, most of them are to power the Chippy project from Hydro-Quebec, the Champlain Hudson Power Express, the NECEC project. These are all projects, transmission lines that are slated to bring power from our rivers in Canada, and we have 29% of the wild rivers in Canada are all that's left free flowing. So you're looking at most of the rivers in Canada, and our Prime Minister believes that we are going to supply hydroelectricity, and I want you to know it's called clean and green. We tend to disagree with that wholeheartedly. He wants to supply North America with the hydro from the rest of our rivers. So we need you to help us. We need you to get educated about when you plug in to that power line, the damage that's being done. I mean, you know, based on the Jones River, what the damage is. So we're going to lose 22 species of fish in our river, and methyl mercury contamination. Amy is here from the Inuk community and the little community of Rigolette, so far downriver, down Lake Melville will be, they supply their source of food is from seals and fish and birds, and all of these animals and fish are going to be contaminated with mercury, methyl mercury. It's a neurotoxin. It is a dangerous product for people. And if they don't eat this fish, they have to go to the store and pay $28 for 4 hamburgers. So, we have to somehow find a way to do what you guys did, and that's take down Muskrat Falls.
I'm from Canada. It's called North Manitoba, way up north. I came to, this is, where's my fellow fighter over there, that guy over there? Really enjoyed it coming down this, and you found free river, the egg will flow across your land, and hopefully the fish will show up and say, "Hi, I'm a happy fish," you know, like that. But going back where I come from, I hope someday that the fish can migrate back to my rivers, and some of the fish can wave back and say, "Hi, Tommy, I'm a happy fish." That is what we are here for, is to tell you the story about what's going on up north in northern Canada. There are dams being built to sell that energy to the United States. And what happens now, what happened here, what you experience in this place here, where the dam has been done in the back of the reservoir, is far more severe where we come from. People have died out there trying to exercise their Aboriginal treaty rights to fish, hunt, travel, or even just to go out and enjoy for recreational reasons. They die out there. So we're trying to bring that to the people here in Boston, also in New York. Some other areas we're going to be visiting. It's a fact of what's happening to the land. And you need to understand that even though you're going into a clean energy environmental perspective of what happened here, but when you buy that energy that the government is selling you, that is green, clean energy, it's not. So every time you turn your switch, remember that it's not a clean energy. Where I come from, my ideal bill is about $400 a month. In Winnipeg, when I used to live there, it was about $100 a month. Here in the United States, in St. Paul, Minneapolis, it was $50 a month. Just to let you know who is paying the price to get a cheaper power in the United States and in Winnipeg. Because me and my wife live between two dams, the regulator and the dam. We're stuck in the middle here. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Clyde, and we are on the Northeast Megadam speaker tour. You can go on our website, northeastmegadamresistance.org. We're traveling throughout the Northeast for the next 8 days. It's a 10-day tour. We'll be back in Plymouth for the day of mourning to raise awareness about the impact of Canadian hydro on Indigenous rights and the environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce Congressman Bill Petey.
Thank you. Ed, it's a pleasure to be here today. You know, you just recognize a lot of the people since I've just come here, but you know, all great partners that are here. I know I'll mention them because they've been great partners with us in so many respects, and particularly in this project with Pine du Bois, the work that's been done by the Jones River Watershed Association for over 3 decades has been extraordinary. Kathy Lenatra, partner, state rep, and a loss for all of us. Senator Vinnie DiMassina, who's leaving us but has been a great champion of the environment, worked with us in so many projects in this area that we share. So all the best of luck in Bridgewater State, and more time with your family, more time to recreate and enjoy this beautiful area that we have here. Ron Amadon, I mean, the work that's being done with the Commonwealth here, partners, Fish and Game, Kim Damon Randall, National Marine Fisheries, Bill Hinckley, the Executive Office of Energy Environmental Affairs, of course, the local support that's been outstanding, Josh Ward, who's our MC. So this is a partnership. I mention all of that because it's not just the individuals, but it's those groups that have partnered together that have been so extraordinary in changing things. it's an interesting segue from our indigenous forefathers and mothers here to remembering that we're a year away from the time that the Mayflower arrived. We'll be celebrating that in our region. But among the passengers in that Mayflower, I think everyone here knows, was Captain Jones. So Captain Jones came, our economies were different, we were able to survive and move forward, and then build economically. And at that time, creating dams for power was a way that people thought was the best approach. And indeed, in our region, between shipbuilding and milling and other industries, we benefited, or our forefathers benefited from those kind of industries. But, as we look now at things in a more informed way, in a more science-based way, we can look at the words of Maya Angelou, who said, "Now that we know better, we do better." And I think that's what we've come to understand here. We've learned what we thought, benefited us the best in the past, really was not the way to approach things in the long run. And this is a great example of that. It truly is. And the work we're doing here, where we're taking an approach to unleashing the benefits that the environment can give us, instead of building on and on and on, our ability to utilize and enjoy that environment and live in a coexistent way with it. We really made a landmark in our region. We recently attended an internationally sponsored event in DC where they were talking about how to deal with environmental issues. And I think we have guests here from Canada and the Netherlands too. Welcome to our great area. But in that conference, they were talking about projects and things we were doing in southeastern Massachusetts, unprompted. So we've made a mark for ourselves in our region for the way we approach it, the way we use science, the way we are allowing our environment to heal itself holistically. And by opening up dams, by improving our estuaries and our marshland, we're dealing with the burdening crisis of climate change in a very natural and holistic way. When we open up those dams and allow nature to go back and the species to repopulate and flooding to be mitigated, flooding that gets worse and worse as we have the effects of climate change, we learn that we can do things. These are cost-effective ways to do it, these are natural ways to do it, and they're the most effective ways to do it. And right here, because of the work of the local authorities, the nonprofits, Jones River Watershed Association, federal and state government coming together, we've given another great example that we can take pride in and realize that we have to honor our earth. We have to honor our environment. And the time has come where that is beyond honoring. It's called surviving and preserving our planet and our way of life. So when I'm pleased to be at an event like this and see it actually come to fruition, it gives great hope, it gives great direction, and it deserves great credit. So thank you for everything that everyone here did to make this possible.
Thank you very much, Congressman. And now I would like to introduce State Senator Vinny Cito. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is actually really fun for me because I grew up right down the street. Actually grew up on Riverside Drive, so you can imagine this river has meant a lot to me in my life over the years. And it's exciting to see this come together. And I'm just going to take a quick opportunity, and I apologize that I'm late, but I just come down from Boston. Really, the driving force behind this, at least from my perspective and who I dealt with, is, and I'm just so proud to work with, has been Pine Dubois, who has just been. In my 21 years in politics, I've dealt with a lot of people, but I have dealt with few with as much passion as Bob. dealt with even fewer that have been as effective as mine. It is amazing her tenacity and dragging us in to make sure that something like this happens. And you know, my job in the legislature has just been groveling. That's my job. I grovel. And, you know, I just need to know what to grovel about. And Pine made sure that when I got elected to serve this area, because many of you know that I served in Plymouth for 60 years prior to that, following my good friend Peter Foreman, who at one time was a state representative, then sheriff, and you name it. He's had more titles than you can imagine. But it is, you know, through that, when I got here 5 years ago, she shared to me the importance of this. And of course, I have such rich history as well, and asked me to help and partner in a small way to advocate with the administration to try to make the case about the significance. And the administration has done a phenomenal job in regards to dam restoration. We know in Plymouth what they've done there, and they're doing it around the state. But you need people to bring something to the forefront, and I just wanted to be here. I know I'm a has-been. I'm done. I'm going to Bridgewater State University as far as the legislature, but I did want to be here to congratulate you, because I've loved working with you. I love you, as I said, I've loved your passion, and I love how effective you are, and I'm just so proud to see the progress you've made. So thank you so much, and I appreciate working with all of you over the last year.